Hey everybody, I'm Lisa Evers. I'm a Fox 5 New York news reporter. We're here in the newsroom. We have some breaking news that I know a lot of people are going to be interested in. Just coming out of Boston here, that's what you're looking at right now is the courthouse in Boston where a jury found Karen Reed not guilty of second-degree murder. She was charged with the January 2022 death of John O'Keefe. And the first time around, it resulted in a mistrial because it was a deadlocked jury. But this time around, the jury delivered a not guilty verdict on the second-degree murder charge. That's significant because if she had been found guilty on it, that carried with it a life sentence, and that's what she would have been looking at. They did find her guilty of drunk driving. Now, Reed's defense team said that what had happened was she had dropped off O'Keefe, John O'Keefe, a Boston police officer. She had dropped him off at a home and then left. The prosecutor said she basically dropped him off and then ran him over and left him for dead there. Well, it turns out there's a lot more to that story. Reed's defense said that O'Keefe ended up being beaten, bitten by a dog, then left outside a home in the Boston suburb of Canton, and that it was a conspiracy orchestrated by the police that included planting evidence. Prosecutors tried to portray Reed as a scorned lover who chose to leave O'Keefe dying in the snow, but that's not exactly what happened, according to the evidence. The state's case presented by a special prosecutor, Hank Brennan, who called fewer witnesses than the prosecutor who ran the first trial against Reed. Now, this was a case that went on. There were many witnesses. There were months and months of testimony, but in the end, at the end of the day, the jury found O'Keefe the second time around not guilty of second degree murder. So I'm just checking the AP wire here to see if there's any other updates on this. You can see that what you're looking at right now on your screen, what you're seeing is these are aerial views of the courthouse in Boston where the jury found her not guilty of the second degree murder charge. We saw a lot of people spilling out into the streets just a little bit earlier, but you can see the court officers and the police officers, I'm not sure which they are, but some law enforcement that is outside the courthouse right now. So we're going to keep that live for us, and we're going to keep watching that as this goes on. If you're just joining me, you're watching Fox 5 NY YouTube Live. I'm Lisa Evers, one of the Fox 5 New York reporters. I'm typically a crime reporter. Here, this case has been really fascinating because the allegations on both sides were really horrendous. This was, Karen Reed portrayed as a scorned lover, and that she was basically trying to, get back at this police officer, boyfriend, John O'Keefe. She was looking at a lot of charges. The charges she faced: second-degree murder, manslaughter, leaving the scene outside, leaving the scene outside where O'Keefe's body was found. But the case polarizing a lot of people. Of course, a lot of people saying that, she did this to him, and then it turning out that the jury bought the defense argument that this was basically saying that she was set up. That when they say that O'Keefe was bitten by a dog, then left outside this home close to where she had dropped him off, but that there was a whole conspiracy to pin O'Keefe's murder on her, which sounds like the jury really bought that defense argument because they delivered a not guilty verdict to her, for her. But she is found guilty of drunk driving. So I'm not sure what the penalty is on that. Trying to look at it, but the state case, the state special prosecutor who ran it described O'Keefe, the man who died or was murdered, as a good man who helped people. The special prosecutor telling jurors during his closing remarks that the only person who could provide what really happened or could have helped him was Reed, who drove away in her SUV. So they've been deliberating. Here's another thing too, because it's always interesting with these cases to see how long the jury deliberates. Because a lot of times the rule for defense attorneys is if a jury delivers a verdict very, very quickly, that that's good for the defendant. That means that there's like a not guilty right away. But there have been plenty of cases, though, that kind of throw that out the window, that thinking, because there have been cases where they've delivered a guilty verdict pretty fast. So in this particular case, according to the Associated Press, they say the jury deliberated for at least 22 hours, since June 13th. Today's June 18th, so that was over a couple of days, several days of deliberations, and a big victory for her. This case drew a lot of attention because of the claims, because also too a lot of people became familiar with it